After I dropped my son off at the airport, our housekeeper of 10 years called me and said, "Sir, please check the cameras. Don't go home." I watched and witnessed the woman I had lived with for 23 years, standing on our driveway, smiling while a strange man was preparing evidence to frame me. I was so shocked I nearly fainted. Thank you for being here. Drop a comment, let me know where you're watching from, or just type, "I'm here." That camera footage saved my life. Without it, I'd be in prison for a crime I didn't commit. Stick around to see how I fought back. Quick note, this story includes creative elements for educational purposes, but the lesson is real. The fog rolled in thick that morning, the kind that clings to your windshield and makes the world feel smaller. I gripped the wheel of my F-150 as we headed east on Highway 26 toward Portland International Airport. The heater hummed, but the cab felt cold, not from the weather, from the silence. Kyle sat in the passenger seat, face turned to the window. 22 years old. My son. He hadn't said a word since we left the house. Not thanks, not see you in a few months, not even a grunt when I asked if he had his passport. Just silence. I tried once more. "You excited about the program?" He nodded, barely. "Now listen, I know things have been, Dad." His voice was flat. "Can we just not?" I swallowed the words and focused on the road. When did we become strangers? When did my kids stop looking me in the eye? We pulled into the departure lane at PDX just after 7. Kyle grabbed his backpack before I'd even put the truck in park. "Kyle, wait." He paused, hand on the door. For a second I thought maybe he'd turn around. Give me something, a smile, a "love you, Dad," anything. Instead, he glanced back, eyes somewhere over my shoulder. "See you, Dad." That was it. No hug, no handshake. Just a nod, and he was gone. I sat there, engine idling, watching until the crowd swallowed him. 22 years I'd raised that boy. Taught him to ride a bike, change a tire, throw a fastball. Now I couldn't even get him to look at me. My phone buzzed as I merged onto the highway. Sofia Morales. Our housekeeper, 58, been with us 10 years. She never called unless it was important. I tapped Bluetooth. "Sofia, everything okay?" Her voice came through shaky. "Mr. Foster, you need to check the cameras. Please." I frowned. "What cameras?" "The security system, the ones at the house." Her breath hitched. "Mr. Foster, don't come home. Not yet. Find somewhere safe first." My pulse kicked. "Sofia, what happened?" "I can't explain over the phone. Just, please, check the cameras. Don't come home until you do." The line went dead. I pulled into a park-and-ride lot, hands unsteady. Sofia wasn't dramatic. If she was calling like this, something was very wrong. I grabbed my phone and opened our security app. 4 cameras, front porch, driveway, backyard, garage. We'd installed them 2 years ago after break-ins in the neighborhood. Victoria had insisted. I scrolled to the garage feed and hit rewind. Timestamp 6:45 a.m., right after Kyle and I had left. The video loaded. My blood turned to ice. There, in grainy black and white, was my truck. My F-150 parked in the driveway where I'd left it last night. I'd driven Kyle in Victoria's sedan this morning. 3 men stood next to it. I didn't recognize the first 2 dark jackets, ball caps pulled low. But the third I knew. Marcus Kane. Early 40s, clean cut, always in a suit. Corporate risk management specialist. Victoria mentioned him sometimes. Said he worked on consulting projects with her company. I watched, mouth dry, as Marcus crouched beside my truck. One of the men handed him something, a black package, shoebox-sized, wrapped in duct tape. Marcus didn't hesitate. He slid underneath the driver's side. 90 seconds. His legs stuck out, then he emerged. The package was gone. He pulled out his phone. 3 photos, driver's side, rear bumper, license plate. One man laughed, clapping Marcus on the shoulder. The other spoke into his phone loud enough for the mic to catch. Done. He's finished. Just like she wanted. Just like she wanted. I replayed it. Then again. My fingers shook so hard, I nearly dropped the phone. Marcus Kane, a man I'd met twice planting something under my truck. Something they wanted the police to find. I switched to the front porch camera. Rewound to 6:50 a.m. There. Victoria stepping out in her business suit, coffee mug in hand. She glanced toward the driveway where Marcus and the others worked. She didn't look surprised. Didn't call out. She smiled. A small, satisfied smile. Then she went back inside. I don't know how long I sat there. 10 minutes. 20. The fog pressed in and I couldn't breathe. My wife, Victoria. 23 years of marriage. The mother of my son. The woman I'd built a life with, a home with. She'd just set me up. I didn't know what was in that package. Drugs, maybe. A tracker. Something illegal that would get me arrested the second I drove that truck. And Marcus had taken pictures. Evidence. Proof it was my vehicle. And Kyle. God, Kyle. That's why he wouldn't look at me this morning. That's why he'd been so cold. He knew. He had to know. My phone buzzed. Another call. Victoria. I stared at her name thumb hovering over the green button. For a second I thought about answering. Asking her why. Screaming, begging, demanding an explanation. But then I remembered the smile. I let it go to voicemail. I sat in the silence fog, thick around me. My hands gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. I thought about the last 23 years. The life we'd built in that house on Skyline Boulevard. The barbecues with neighbors. Kyle's birthday parties, Christmas mornings, all of it a lie. Or had it always been real and something changed? How did I miss it? My phone buzzed again. A text this time. From a number I didn't recognize. Mr. Foster. This is Sofia. I'm using my daughter's old phone. They're watching your phone. Meet me. I'll explain everything. But please don't go home. She sent an address. A rest stop off Highway 26, 40 miles east. I stared at the message. Every instinct screamed that I should go to the police. Show them the footage. Let them handle it. But handle what? A package I hadn't seen opened. A conversation I couldn't prove. My wife smiling in her own driveway. What crime had actually been committed? And if I went to the cops now, what would they find when they searched my truck? Whatever Marcus planted, that's what they'd find. And I'd be the one in handcuffs. Number one, I needed to know what I was dealing with first. I started the engine. The fog was lifting slightly as I pulled back onto Highway 26, heading east toward the mountains. Behind me, Portland disappeared into the mist. And for the first time in 23 years of marriage, I understood the truth. My wife had just tried to destroy me. And I had no idea how deep this went. I made a decision in that parking lot. If they wanted me to drive that truck, I needed to know what I'd be driving with. 30 minutes later, I was back at PDX long-term parking level 3, where my F-150 sat exactly where I'd left it. I'd stopped at a drugstore, first latex gloves, Ziploc bags, small toolkit. The cashier barely looked up. The garage was quiet. A few scattered cars, nobody around. I pulled the rental Camry into a spot 50 feet away, pulled on the gloves, and walked over. My heart hammered as I crouched beside the driver's side and looked underneath. There, behind the front wheel, well held with industrial duct tape, the black package. I peeled it away inch by inch until it came free, heavier than it looked. I slipped it into a Ziploc and walked back to the Camry like I was carrying groceries. I drove to the top-level corner where security cameras have blind spots. 25 years as a facilities engineer, I know where they don't look. Then I opened it. 6 bags, white powder maybe 50 grams each, black Sharpie on every bag for transport, MK. Marcus Kane's initials. I didn't need to taste it. Cocaine or close enough. Real or fake didn't matter. The second cops found this in my truck, I'd be in cuffs. And Marcus had photos proving it was my vehicle. Victoria would play the shocked wife. Kyle would back her up. And I'd be gone. I photographed everything, then sealed it back up and shoved it under the passenger seat. My phone buzzed. Sofia. Mr. Foster, did you find it? Yeah, I found it. Dios mío. She exhaled shakily. I'm so sorry. I should have told you sooner, but I was afraid. Sofia, what's going on? I overheard them. Mrs. Foster and Marcus. 3 days ago, late at night. I was upstairs cleaning. They were in the office talking about you. My stomach dropped. What did they say? They said they needed to move fast, that you were asking questions. Mrs. Foster said, once he's arrested, we move quickly. Sell the house, liquidate everything. And Marcus laughed. He said, the cops will find exactly what we need them to find. I closed my eyes. The world tilted. And Kyle, I forced the words out. Silence. Then quietly, Mrs. Foster asked, what about Kyle? Marcus said, the kid's already on our side. He'll testify if we need him to. The kid's already on our side. Kyle's cold shoulder this morning. The way he wouldn't look at me. How long had they been planning this? Mr. Foster, you can't go home. They're watching for you. Mrs. Foster told Marcus you'd probably come back after dropping Kyle off. Where are you? I left. Told Mrs. Foster I was sick. I'm at my sister's in Gresham. Smart. Sofia had always been sharper than people realized. Why are you helping me? A pause. Do you remember 5 years ago, my daughter, Isabella? I did. Isabella Morales, 25. Emergency heart surgery, some congenital defect. Insurance denied the claim. $120,000. Sofia had been desperate. I'd pulled $50,000 from savings. Told Sofia it was a gift, not a loan. Never mentioned it to Victoria. You saved my baby's life, Mr. Foster. Her voice cracked. She died 2 years later, but those 2 years, you gave me 2 more years with her. I will never forget that. My eyes stung. Sofia. So now I save you. You are a good man, Mrs. Foster. She spat the name. She is not. I sat there holding a phone in one hand and my life falling apart in the other. What do I do? You run, you hide, and you find proof. Real proof, not just what I heard. How? I don't know. But you need to move now. Mrs. Foster knows you have access to security cameras. She'll delete the footage if she realizes you saw it. She was right. I needed to download everything before it disappeared. I have something for you, Sofia said. A USB drive. I copied files from Mrs. Foster's laptop, emails, messages. I don't know if it's enough, but it's something. My chest tightened. Sofia, if they find out, they won't. I've been cleaning her office for 5 years. She doesn't even see me anymore. Bitterness edged her voice. I'm invisible to her. Where? There's a rest stop off Highway 26 about 40 miles east. Mile marker 34. I'll meet you there in 2 hours. Okay, thank you. Mr. Foster, be careful who you trust. Marcus isn't just a consultant. He's connected. I've seen him with dangerous people. The line went dead. I sat there staring at concrete walls. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Somewhere below, a car alarm wailed and stopped. I found an ATM near the exit, pulled $1,500 in cash. Then I turned off location services on my phone. It wouldn't stop them completely, but it might buy time. I thought about going to the police, walking into a precinct and laying it all out. But what would I say? My wife smiled in the driveway. I found drugs I claimed someone else planted. Without proof, I was just a paranoid husband. And the moment they searched my truck, I'd be the one in custody. Number 1. I needed to disappear long enough to understand what was happening. I started the Camry and headed for the exit. As I passed my F-151 last time, I looked at it sitting there in dim light. 20 years I'd driven that truck. Took Kyle to Little League in it. hauled lumber for the deck I built. Now it was a trap. Highway 26 stretched ahead, winding east into the foothills. The fog had lifted, but the sky stayed gray. I set cruise control and tried to breathe. 40 miles, 90 minutes. Sofia had an address. She had files, maybe answers. But as the city disappeared in my rear view and trees closed in on both sides, one thought kept circling. What if this is another trap? What if Marcus had gotten to Sofia? What if I was driving straight into an ambush? I glanced at the passenger seat. The Ziploc bag sat there, silent evidence of how far they'd already gone. 90 minutes to decide. Was I running toward answers or straight into the end? The rest stop appeared through a break in the trees, a small turnout with restrooms, vending machines, and a parking lot barely big enough for a dozen cars. When I pulled in, it was nearly empty. Just two 18-wheelers idling at the far end and a gray sedan parked near the picnic tables. Sofia's car. I parked 3 spots away, scanning the tree line, the road behind me, the rear view, looking for Marcus, for men in dark jackets, for anything wrong. Nothing. Just wind through the pines and the low rumble of diesel engines. Sofia stood beside her car, arms wrapped around herself. She looked smaller than I remembered. Older, her eyes red-rimmed, hands shaking. Mr. Foster, her voice broke. Sofia. I crossed to her. Before I could say anything, she gripped my arm. I'm so sorry. I should have told you sooner. Stop. You're helping me now. That's what matters. We sat at one of the picnic tables, wood damp from morning fog. Sofia pulled a tissue from her purse, wiped her face, then looked at me with an expression I'd seen before when I'd handed her that check 5 years ago. Gratitude mixed with something harder. Determination. How much do you know? She asked. Not enough. Tell me everything. She took a breath. Mrs. Foster and Marcus Kane. They've been together 8 months. The words hit like a punch. Together. You mean? Yes, an affair. I saw them in the house twice when you were out of town. March and May. 8 months. Had Victoria seemed different, distant? I'd been so focused on work, on Kyle pulling away, I hadn't noticed. They're not just having an affair. They're planning. Sofia's voice dropped. 3 days ago, I heard her on the phone with Marcus. She said, once he's arrested, we move fast. Sell the house, liquidate accounts. I want him gone completely. No alimony, no custody fights. Just gone. My throat tightened. And Marcus, he laughed, said, that's going to take planning. It's not cheap. Mrs. Foster said she didn't care. She'd pay whatever it took. 23 years. We'd built a life together, raised a son, and now she wanted me gone. Not divorced. Gone. What about Kyle? Sofia's face crumpled. Mrs. Foster asked Marcus, what about Kyle? He said, the kid's already on our side. He'll testify if we need him. Says his father's been erratic, unstable. The world narrowed. Kyle, my son, going to testify against me? Call me unstable. Does Kyle know about the drugs? I don't think so. But Mrs. Foster has been working on him for months. She tells him you're stressed, acting strange, that she's worried. She's very convincing. I rubbed my face. This wasn't just a setup. It was months of groundwork turning Kyle against me, building a narrative. And when cops found those drugs, every lie would become truth. Sofia pulled a USB drive from her purse. I've been copying files from her laptop for 2 weeks. Every time I cleaned her office. She never locks it, never logs out. She doesn't even see me in the room. She pressed it into my hand. Warm from her pocket. What's on it? It's the emails, 6 months' worth. Messages between her and Marcus. Bank statements. I don't know if it's everything, but it's something. I closed my fist around it. Sofia, if they find out, I don't care. Her voice turned fierce. Do you remember my Isabella? Of course. 5 years ago, she needed emergency heart surgery. The insurance denied the claim. $120,000. I was going to lose her, I remembered. Sofia had come to me crying, begging for a loan. I'd written the check that day. 50,000. Everything in savings. Told Victoria it was for a roof repair. She never questioned it. You saved my daughter's life. Sofia's voice cracked. Isabella lived 2 more years. 2 more years I got to hold her, talk to her. She died anyway, the condition was too severe, but those 2 years. You gave me that gift. Now I give you this. You are a good man. Mrs. Foster is not a good woman. I couldn't speak. I just squeezed her hand across the table. She straightened all business. You can't go home. Can't use credit cards or your phone for anything they can trace. You need somewhere they'd never think to look. I have a place. The cabin. My dad's old hunting cabin near Mount Hood. Victoria had been there once 15 years ago. Hated it, no cell service, no running water. She'd never think I'd go there. Good. Sofia stood. I need to go. My sister's expecting me. But Mr. Foster, be careful. Marcus isn't just a consultant. I've seen him with dangerous men. He has connections. I will. She started toward her car, then turned back. One more thing. Kyle. I don't think he understands how far they'll go. He thinks this is just a divorce. He doesn't know about the drugs. There might still be a chance to reach him. Maybe. The word felt hollow. Sofia drove away her sedan, disappearing toward Portland. I sat at the picnic table another minute, USB drive heavy in my pocket, wind cold on my face. Then I got in the Camry and pulled onto Highway 26, heading east into the mountains. The road climbed higher trees, pressing close on both sides. Sofia's words echoed, Kyle doesn't understand how far they'll go. But I did, and now I needed to disappear. I made it 20 miles before I noticed the tail. A black SUV, 3 cars back keeping pace. I'd learned to spot surveillance years ago, working facility security. You watch for the vehicle that matches your rhythm, not your speed. This one had been behind me since the rest stop. My hands tightened on the wheel. Had they followed Sofia, or had I been careless, too focused on the USB to notice? I took the next exit without signaling. The SUV followed. I was 40 miles east of Portland now, deep into logging country. Towns, sparse houses, even more so. If they wanted to run me off the road, this was the place. I passed the turnoff to the cabin and kept going. Couldn't lead them there. That was my only safe place left. Ahead, a rusted sign, Old West Side Industrial Complex. 2 miles. Abandoned warehouses where a timber company had gone under in the 90s. Buildings still standing, but the place was a ghost town. Perfect. I took the access road, fast gravel spitting under tires. The SUV closed the distance. The complex appeared through trees, 3 massive warehouses, windows broken, parking lots overgrown. I swerved between buildings and slammed the brakes. I grabbed the USB, shoved it in my jacket pocket, and ran. Behind me, tires screeched. Doors opened. Footsteps pounding. Mr. Foster, let's talk. I didn't look back. I sprinted for the nearest warehouse, its loading bay door hanging half open. Ducked inside. The world went dark. The air smelled like rust and decay. Shapes emerged, old machinery, rotting pallets, metal stairs to a catwalk overhead. Footsteps echoed outside. 2 men, maybe 3. He went in here, fan out. I moved deeper, stepping around debris. Every footfall felt too loud. Then I saw it, a grate in the floor, partially hidden under collapsed shelving. Maintenance access. These old facilities always had tunnels underneath for utilities. I hauled the shelving aside. The grate came up with a rusty groan. Below, a ladder descended into darkness. No choice. I climbed down and pulled the grate closed, just as flashlight beams swept the warehouse floor. The tunnel was narrow, maybe 4 feet high. I crouched using my phone's flashlight. Concrete walls slick with moisture. The smell, mold, and stagnant air made my stomach turn. Behind me, muffled voices. Then the scrape of the grate opening. He went down. I clicked off my phone and moved by feel, one hand on the wall. The tunnel branched. I took the left fork, then another left, trying to create distance and confusion. Minutes passed. 10. 20. My knees ached from crouching. My jacket soaked through with condensation. But I didn't hear footsteps anymore. I found another ladder and climbed. The hatch at the top was stuck, but I shouldered it open. Emerged in a different warehouse, smaller windows, shattered afternoon light streaming through holes in the roof. I listened. Silence except for wind through broken glass. I checked my phone. 3:47 p.m. I'd been down there 90 minutes. Peering out, I saw the Camry still parked beside the SUV. One man stood near the vehicles talking on a phone. The others nowhere in sight, probably still searching tunnels. I couldn't go back for the car. But the road was a quarter-mile through the trees. I slipped out the back and into the woods. The terrain was rough fallen logs, thick underbrush ground, soft from rain. I moved quickly without making noise, angling away from the complex. 20 minutes later, I hit a 2-lane highway, empty both directions. I walked the shoulder thumb out. Third car stopped. Older guy in a pickup, country music playing. Didn't ask questions when I said my car broke down. Hop in! I gave him a different name. Paid $20 when he dropped me at a gas station 10 miles up. From there, I found a payphone, hadn't seen one in years, and called an Uber. Paid cash. Gave coordinates 2 miles from the cabin. You sure? The driver asked. There's nothing out there. Meeting someone. They'll pick me up. He shrugged and drove. By the time he dropped me off, the sun was low shadows, long through trees. I waited until his taillights disappeared, then hiked the final 2 miles on foot. The cabin appeared as last light bled from the sky, a small structure tucked into a clearing, surrounded by Douglas firs. The roof sagged in places. Windows dark. But it was standing. I'd been here twice. Once as a kid when Dad brought me hunting. Once 15 years ago when I'd thought about selling it and brought Victoria to see if it was worth anything. She'd taken one look, no plumbing, no electricity, miles from civilization, and told me to sell. I'd kept it anyway, paid the property taxes every year, never told her. Now I understood why. I found the spare key under a rock, where Dad always kept it, and let myself in. The door groaned. Inside, cold and stale air. I clicked on my phone's flashlight. Dust coated everything, the old wood stove, the table, 2 cots against the wall. But it was shelter, and it was mine. I locked the door, shoved a chair under the handle, and sank onto one of the cots. For the first time in hours, I let myself breathe. My hands were still shaking. My knees throbbed from crawling through those tunnels. I smelled like rust and mold and fear. But I was alive, and I still had the USB. I pulled it from my pocket and stared at it in the dim glow of my phone. 6 months of emails. Proof of what Victoria and Marcus were planning. Maybe enough to save myself, or maybe just enough to get me killed. Outside, the wind moved through the pines. Somewhere in the distance, an owl called. I closed my eyes and listened to the silence. The cabin smelled of dust and old wood. For the first time in hours, I allowed myself to breathe deeply. But I knew this was just the beginning. Morning light filtered through gaps in the shutters, thin and gray. I'd barely slept, maybe 2 hours in fragments, waking at every sound. But sleep wasn't the priority anymore. I sat at the dusty table, my laptop propped on a stack of old magazines, and plugged in the USB drive Sofia had given me. The folder opened. 317 files. 6 months of emails between Victoria and Marcus Kane. I started reading. The first dozen were mundane meeting times, restaurant reservations, inside jokes I didn't understand. Then the tone shifted. February. We need to be careful. Anne is asking about the withdrawals. March. How much longer do we have to pretend? April. I want him gone, completely. I kept scrolling. Financial documents, bank statements showing transfers I'd never authorized. A contract with a lawyer, Michael Reed, dated 2 months ago. Retainer $15,000 from our joint account. And then buried near the end, an email from Marcus to Victoria sent 3 weeks ago. Package is ready. I'll plant it Monday morning after he leaves for the airport. Once the cops find it, we move fast. Sell the house within 48 hours. Liquidate everything. You'll have full control by the end of the week. Victoria's reply, and Kyle, Marcus already handled. The kid will testify that his father's been unstable. Between that and the drugs, no court will side with him. You'll be free and clear. I closed the laptop and sat there in the cold silence. Free and clear. They'd planned every detail. The drugs, the testimony, the asset seizure. This wasn't just a divorce. It was an execution. But now I had proof. Proof they'd conspired. Proof of the setup. Proof that might save me if I could use it the right way. I thought about going to the police, walking into a station with the USB and laying it all out. But what would they do? Investigate Victoria and Marcus while I sat in a cell number 1? I needed more than emails. I needed them on record. I needed video, audio, something undeniable. I needed to see what they were doing now, and that meant I had to go back. Not physically, not yet. But I could watch. I'd built that house 12 years ago, installed the electrical and security systems myself. I knew every corner, every blind spot, every vulnerability. If I could get cameras inside, I could monitor them remotely, catch them in the act. But I couldn't buy equipment under my own name, couldn't ship anything to the house, and I sure as hell couldn't install it while Victoria was home. I needed help. I grabbed my phone, still off, still untraceable, and pulled up a contact I hadn't called in years. Henry Walker. Neighbor 3 doors down. 63, retired carpenter. We'd shared beers on his porch a few times, helped each other with yard projects. Good man. Quiet but solid. Would he help me now, or would he think I'd lost my mind? Only one way to find out. I walked 3 miles into the nearest town, barely more than a gas station, a diner, and a post office. Found a cafe with free Wi-Fi. Ordered coffee I didn't drink, and opened my laptop. I created a new email account. Something generic, untraceable. Then I spent an hour researching equipment. I needed cameras small enough to hide wireless, so I didn't have to run cables, cloud storage, so I could access footage remotely. I found a set 4 mini wireless cameras, motion-activated HD quality, battery-powered. Total cost with overnight shipping, $850. I couldn't use my credit card. But the cafe had an ATM in the corner. I pulled another $1,000 in cash, walked to the post office, bought a prepaid Visa card, and used that to place the order online. Shipping address, Henry Walker, 2142 Skyline Boulevard, Portland, Oregon. Then I used a burner email to send Henry a message through an old carpentry forum we'd both used years ago. Vague enough not to raise alarms, clear enough that he'd understand. Henry, it's Nathan. I need a favor. A package is coming to your house tomorrow. Don't open it. I'll explain soon. If you're willing to help, leave your porch light on tomorrow night. If not, I understand. Either way, please don't tell Victoria you heard from me. I hit send and closed the laptop. Now I had to wait. Back at the cabin, I spent the afternoon drawing. I pulled out a notebook and sketched the layout of 2156 Skyline Boulevard from memory. Every room, every angle, every sightline. Living room camera behind the picture frame over the couch. Perfect view of the front door and the seating area where Victoria and Marcus would talk. Master bedroom camera tucked into the bookshelf. If they were sleeping together, I'd have proof. Victoria's office camera inside the desk lamp. She did all her financial work there. If she was moving money, I'd see it. Garage camera mounted in the corner near the tool bench. That's where they'd parked when Marcus planted the drugs. If they came back, I'd catch it. 4 cameras, 4 critical points. Enough to build a case. I labeled each location, noted the best installation times, mapped out how I'd get in and out without being seen. The security system I'd installed Had a 30-second delay on the garage side door, enough time to slip in if I knew the code. Which I did. I'd set it. The hardest part would be timing. I'd need Victoria and Marcus both out of the house. Maybe when Victoria went to work if Marcus wasn't there. Or late at night when they were asleep. Risky, but possible. I stared at the blueprint, every line familiar. I'd designed that house. Framed it. Wired it. Built the deck where Kyle used to play as a kid. It was mine. And now I was planning to break into it like a stranger. The sun dropped lower shadows stretching across the cabin floor. I thought about Henry. About whether he'd help or turn me in. About whether I was putting him in danger just by asking. But I didn't have a choice. I couldn't do this alone. I folded the blueprint and tucked it into my jacket. Tomorrow, if Henry's porch light was on, I'd know I had an ally. If not, I'd figure out another way. I looked at the sketch one more time. The house I'd built with my own hands, the life I'd thought was solid. Tomorrow I'd start watching, and I'd see exactly what my wife was planning. Over the next 2 days, I watched everything. Every conversation. Every lie. Every moment I'd been blind to. Henry's porch light had been on. The night after I sent the message, I'd driven into town and glassed his house from 2 blocks away with borrowed binoculars. The light glowed warm. He was in. The package arrived the next afternoon. 2 hours after dark, Henry left it on his back porch with a note, garage side door. Code still the same. It was. I'd installed a backup entry during construction, a fail-safe Victoria didn't know existed. Now it was my way back in. I waited until 11:30 p.m. Victoria's bedroom light had been off for an hour. No cars in the driveway except hers. I parked 4 blocks away and walked through backyards. Henry met me at his fence, handed me the box without a word, just a nod. I mouthed, "Thank you," and disappeared. The side door opened silently. 30-second delay. I punched in the code, my birthday, the one Victoria never changed, and slipped inside. The house smelled the same. Coffee and lemon cleaner. But it felt foreign now, like trespassing in someone else's life. 4 cameras, 4 locations. I'd memorized the plan. Living room. I tucked the first camera behind the picture frame over the couch. View of the front door, the seating area. Office inside the base of Victoria's desk lamp angled out. She'd never notice. Bedroom behind, books on the top shelf angled toward the bed. Garage corner mount behind an old bike helmet. 45 minutes? I was out by 12:15 a.m. Code reset, door locked. Back at the cabin, I connected to the cloud storage. All 4 feeds came online. Green lights. I exhaled for the first time in hours. Now I could watch. The first footage came through the next morning. I sat at the table, laptop open, coffee going cold as I scrolled. 8:47 a.m. Victoria in the kitchen on her phone. "I don't know where he is, Marcus. He hasn't come home." Marcus's voice through the speaker. "Good. That means the plan worked. He's probably in a holding cell or he ran. Either way, he's finished." Victoria laughed. "I almost feel bad. 23 years and this is how it ends." "Don't. You said it yourself, he was holding you back." "We're free now." They talked for 5 more minutes. Plans to list the house. Move money. Have Kyle come home early to make a statement about my erratic behavior. I watched Victoria smile as she hung up. Watched her pour more coffee like she hadn't just dismantled my life. I saved the file and kept watching. 2:14 p.m. Victoria in her office. She opened a drawer and pulled out a small bottle, unmarked, no label. Unscrewed the cap, poured drops into a coffee mug, added cream, stirred. I zoomed in. The liquid was clear, slightly viscous. My phone buzzed. "Sofia." "Yeah, Mr. Foster, did you see the footage?" "I'm watching now." "What is that bottle?" "That's what I needed to tell you. I was a nurse in Mexico for 15 years. I recognize it. She keeps it hidden in the bathroom cabinet. I've seen her use it before." My chest tightened. "Use it for what?" "For you. Every morning she made your coffee, yes." I thought back. Yeah. For months, Victoria had insisted on bringing me coffee before work, said it was quality time. What's in it? Yes, I'm not certain without testing, but from the dosage, I think it's a hallucinogen. Mild long-term. It would make you seem unstable. Memory problems, mood swings. Perfect for a custody case. The room tilted. She's been drugging me. I think so, for months. I took a sample last week and sent it to a lab. Results should come in a few days. I stared at the screen, at Victoria calmly stirring poison into my coffee. How long? I first noticed the bottle 6 months ago. 6 months. Every morning. No wonder I'd felt foggy lately. Forgetful. I'd thought it was stress age, but it was her. Building a case that I was losing my mind. Thank you, Sofia. Be careful. If she realizes you know, I will. I hung up and kept watching. 6:18 p.m. Victoria in the living room. FaceTime. Kyle's name on the screen. She answered, smiling. Hi, sweetheart. Kyle appeared. Tired, stressed. Mom. I've been thinking. Are we sure about this, about Dad? Victoria's smile didn't falter. Kyle, we've talked about this. Your father's been unwell for a long time. You just didn't see it. I know, but I don't remember him being that bad. That's because he hid it well. But I've been living with it. The mood swings, the paranoia. I'm scared, Kyle. Kyle hesitated, then slowly nodded. Okay, if you say so. I do. Once this is over, we can start fresh. You, me, and Marcus. A real family. Kyle's face flickered something I couldn't read. Doubt. But then he forced a smile. Yeah, okay. I love you, sweetheart. Love you too, Mom. The screen went dark. I sat there staring at the frozen image of my son's face. 22 years old. The kid I'd taught to ride a bike, throw a curveball, change a tire. And he believed her. I thought about all the moments I'd missed. The times I'd worked late, focused on building the business, providing for the family. I'd thought I was being a good father, giving them security, stability. But somewhere along the way, Victoria had filled the space I left empty. She'd rewritten the narrative, made herself the victim and me the villain. And Kyle, away at school, only hearing her side, he didn't stand a chance. I remembered something from years ago. Kyle was maybe 10. We were in the garage working on his bike. He'd asked me, Dad, how do you know who to trust? I'd told him, you trust the people who show up, the ones who keep their promises. I'd shown up for 18 years. Every game, every recital, every parent-teacher conference I could make. But these last few years, I'd been stretched thin, working double shifts to keep the business afloat after the recession. Missing dinners, missing calls, and Victoria had been there whispering in his ear. Your father's changing. Your father's unstable. Your father doesn't care. She'd played the long game, and she'd won. I closed the laptop and sat in the darkness of the cabin. The wind moved through the pines outside. Somewhere distant, an owl called. My hands were shaking again. I'd lost my wife, lost my home. And now, watching that footage, I understood the cruelest truth. I'd lost my son long before any of this started. The question wasn't when I'd lost him. The question was, could I ever get him back? A memory hit me, Kyle, at 10, racing his bike down Skyline Boulevard, laughing so hard he could barely keep his hands on the handlebars. I was staring at the laptop, but I wasn't seeing the footage anymore. I was seeing that kid. Sun-bleached hair, scraped knees, gap-toothed grin. Fearless. Believed his old man could fix anything. When had that changed? Kyle at 10 sitting in the garage while I taught him to true a bent rim. He'd crashed, jumping a homemade ramp, thought he was Evil Knievel. The wheel looked toast, but those big eyes got me. Can't you fix it, Dad? You can fix anything. So I did. 2 hours with a spoke wrench showing him tension and alignment. He asked 100 questions. When we finished, He hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Thanks, Dad, you're the best. Kyle at 14, hands covered in grease, learning to change a tire on the F-150. He'd complained at first, wanted to play video games, but by the end, he was grinning proud. We got Dairy Queen after. He told me about a girl at school. Asked if she'd notice him if he got better at skateboarding. I'd told him she'd be crazy not to. Kyle at 18, graduation day, cap and gown, diploma in hand. I stood and cheered louder than any parent there. Victoria told me to sit down, embarrassed. But Kyle grinned, rolled his eyes. You're such a dad. Then he hugged me. Quick and tight, the way 18-year-old boys do when they still love their fathers but won't admit it. Thanks for everything, Dad. I mean it. Those memories felt like knives now. Because that kid, the one who'd trusted me, looked up to me, was gone, replaced by the young man who wouldn't meet my eyes at the airport, who walked away without a hug, who was about to testify I was unstable. I opened the laptop again. I needed to understand how Victoria had done it. I scrolled back, found footage from 2 weeks ago. 7:32 p.m. Victoria in her office, phone to ear. FaceTime. Kyle's face on screen. Mom, I don't know. This feels wrong. Victoria's voice was soft, soothing. Kyle, I know this is hard. But your father, he's not the man you remember. What do you mean? He's been changing. The mood swings, the anger. Last week he yelled at me for moving money. It scared me. I paused. That was a lie. I'd asked about withdrawals calmly, quietly. Never yelled. But Kyle didn't know that. He was 800 miles away, hearing only her side. I hit play. Kyle frowned. Dad yelled at you. He did. And Kyle... Her voice dropped. I think he might be having a breakdown. I'm worried about what he might do. Do you think he'd hurt you? I don't know. I hope not. But I can't take that chance. Kyle's face tightened. Mom, if you're not safe, but that's why I need you to trust me. If this goes to court, I need you to be honest about what you've seen. But I haven't seen. You've seen him withdraw, pull away, obsess over work. That's not normal. That's a man losing control. Kyle looked uncertain, but slowly he nodded. Okay. If you really think, I do, I love you, sweetheart. The call ended. I sat there sick. She was good. Every word carefully chosen. She'd painted me as a threat without ever saying I'd hurt her. Let Kyle fill in the blanks himself. And he had. I kept scrolling, found another clip from a week ago. Victoria and Marcus in the living room late at night. Marcus was pacing. What about Kyle? Does he know about the setup? Victoria shook her head. God, no. Kyle would never agree to that. He still thinks his father hung the moon. Then why's he going along with the testimony? Because he thinks this is just a divorce. A bad one, but normal. He doesn't know about the drugs. He doesn't know we're taking everything. Victoria sipped wine. And he won't. The less Kyle knows, the easier this is. What if Nathan contacts him? He won't. Nathan's too proud. He'll think Kyle chose me and he'll walk away. She smiled. That's who he is. Martyr complex. I closed the laptop. Kyle didn't know. Didn't know about the drugs in my truck. Didn't know about the hidden money. Didn't know Marcus had orchestrated everything. He thought this was a normal divorce. Thought his mother was scared and his father was falling apart. And that made it worse. Because Kyle wasn't a villain. He was a victim. Victoria had weaponized his love. Used his distance, his time away at school to rewrite everything. And Kyle, trusting his mother the way kids do, had believed every word. I thought about the airport. The way he wouldn't look at me. The coldness. He hadn't been angry. He'd been sad. Maybe guilty. He thought he was protecting his mom from a man who was unraveling. I walked to the cabin window. The trees were dark against fading light. Somewhere out there, my son was sitting in a dorm room, believing a lie that was tearing us apart. But he didn't know it was a lie, which meant maybe there was still a chance. If I could reach him, show him the truth before Victoria poisoned him further, prove I wasn't the monster she'd made me out to be. I looked back at the laptop, at the evidence I'd been gathering. This wasn't just about saving myself anymore. It was about saving my son. I pulled out my phone and stared at Kyle's contact. My thumb hovered over the call button, but I didn't press it, not yet. Calling now, desperate and on the run, would only confirm everything Victoria said. That I was unstable, out of control. Number one, I needed more. Proof so undeniable that even Victoria's lies couldn't stand against it. Then I'd bring my son home. I set the phone down and opened the laptop again. Kyle didn't know the truth, but he would, and maybe, just maybe, that meant I could still reach him. The answer came 3 days into my surveillance. One email changed everything I thought I knew. I'd been sorting through the USB Sofia gave me building timelines from Victoria and Marcus's correspondence. Then I found a subfolder I'd missed, MK-KF correspondence. 83 emails. Marcus Kane and Kyle Foster. The first was dated 3 months ago, April 2nd. From Marcus Kane, subject checking in, Kyle. Your mom mentioned you've been stressed. College is tough. If you need someone to talk to someone outside the family drama, I'm here. No judgment. Marcus. I stared at the screen. Marcus had positioned himself as Kyle's ally. April 12th. Kyle's reply. Thanks. Yeah, things have been rough. I made some mistakes. Gotten over my head with something I can't talk about. I'm trying to handle it on my own. Kyle, April 15th. Marcus again. I've been in tight spots before. If it's financial, I have resources. Whatever it is, I won't tell your parents. Let me know. M. Financial. The next email had an attachment kf_debt_summary.pdf. I opened it. Offshore gambling site. Total outstanding balance $80,000. Kyle's name at the top. 8 months of transactions. Small bets becoming bigger losses. $80,000. My son had been drowning and I hadn't known. April 20th. Marcus's pitch. I saw the statement. I can make this go away. I have connections who can erase debt like this if the right incentives are in place. But I need you to do something for me in return. April 28th. Kyle asked the question that sealed everything. What do you need me to do? Kyle. Marcus replied within an hour. Your parents are going through a rough patch. Your mom's scared of your dad's mood swings, his paranoia. If things go to court, she needs someone who can speak honestly about what they've seen. You don't have to lie. Just tell the truth about how your father's been changing. In exchange, I'll take care of your debt. $20,000 up front. The rest after everything's settled. Sound fair, M? I felt sick. Marcus had found Kyle's weakness and exploited it. May 6th. Kyle hesitated. I don't know. This feels wrong. My dad's been distant but unstable. That's a strong word. Kyle. Marcus's reply was cold. Think about what's at stake. That debt. The people you owe won't wait forever. They're already asking questions. When they come collecting, they won't be polite. I'm offering you a way out. $20,000. Wired tomorrow. Just say yes. M. The next attachment, bank transfer confirmation. $20,000 sent to Kyle's account. May 7th. Marcus had paid him. May 15th. Kyle tried to back out. I've been thinking about this. I'm not sure I can go through with it. My dad and I haven't been close, but he's still my dad. I don't want to be the reason he loses everything. Can we talk? Kyle. Marcus's response was ice. You took $20,000. That money's already gone to pay your debt. If you back out now, I can't protect you. The people you owe will come for you. They won't care that you're a college kid who made a mistake. You're in this now. The only way out is through. Don't let us down. M. The last email, 2 weeks ago, June 4th. I'm in. but I hate this. Kyle, I closed the laptop. Kyle wasn't a villain. He was a victim. A 22-year-old who'd made bad choices, gotten desperate, and been manipulated by someone who knew exactly how to weaponize shame and fear. Marcus had paid Kyle just enough to make him complicit, then threatened him into compliance. And Kyle, believing he was protecting his mother from a man who was falling apart, had agreed. Because he didn't know the truth. Didn't know about the drugs in my truck. Didn't know about the affair. Didn't know this was all a conspiracy to destroy me. He thought this was just a messy divorce. He had no idea he was helping them commit fraud. I thought about calling him right now, telling him everything. But he'd think I was paranoid. Exactly what Victoria had conditioned him to believe. No. I needed proof he couldn't deny. I saved every email, every transfer, every threat. Marcus had thrown Kyle an anchor disguised as a life preserver. My son wasn't the enemy. He was another victim in their plan. I stared at Kyle's last message. I'm in, but I hate this. He hated it. Part of him knew this was wrong, which meant maybe I could still reach him. But first I needed more than emails on a USB drive. I needed to know how deep Marcus's network went. How many others he'd manipulated this way. I needed someone who could dig deeper than I could alone. I needed help. Real help. Tomorrow I'd make the call. But tonight I sat in the cabin's darkness and grieved for my son, not lost to betrayal, but to fear and manipulation. Kyle had been trapped, used, and I'd been too blind to see it. The question now wasn't whether I could forgive him. The question was, could I save us both? I needed help. Real help. Someone who could dig deeper than I ever could. Chris Manning. We'd met 12 years ago on a job site. He was installing network infrastructure. I was wiring the building. We'd stayed in touch. He'd helped me set up the security system at the house. Freelance IT specialist. 35, sharp as hell, the kind of guy who asked questions only when he needed to. I walked 3 miles into town, found the cafe with Wi-Fi, created a new email account, and sent Chris a message. Chris, it's Nathan. I need your help. Can't explain over email. Call this number if you're willing to talk. I included the burner number and hit send. 20 minutes later, the phone buzzed. Nathan. Chris's voice was cautious. Where the hell are you? Victoria called me last week asking if I'd heard from you. My chest tightened. What did you tell her? Nothing. Said I hadn't talked to you in months. A pause. What's going on? I need you to access my wife's email and financial accounts. Silence. Then, Jesus, Nathan. That's not gray. That's illegal. I know. But she's been setting me up. Planted drugs in my truck, been drugging me, planning to take everything. I have some proof, but I need more. Send me what you have. If you're telling the truth, I'll help. I emailed him footage clips, email screenshots, the photo of the drug package with Marcus's initials. 10 minutes later, Chris called back. Holy shit, this is real. Yeah. Okay, I'm in. What do you need? Everything. Her emails, bank records, texts. Anything that shows what she and Marcus Kane have been planning. Give me 24 hours. Chris, if they find out, they won't. I know how to stay invisible. The next 24 hours crawled. I watched camera feeds, took notes, couldn't sleep. My mind spun through scenarios. What if Chris got caught? What if Victoria realized someone was accessing her accounts? But at 8:47 p.m. the next night, my phone buzzed. I'm sending you a file now. Encrypted. Password is your dad's birthday. The file downloaded over 2 gigabytes. Inside folders. Hundreds of them. Victoria Marcus emails. Financial records. Text messages. Legal documents. I started with the emails. Over 500 messages spanning 6 months. 4 months ago. Victoria to Marcus. I want him gone, completely. No alimony, no custody fights. Just gone. Marcus. That's going to take planning, and it's not cheap. Victoria, I don't care. I'll pay whatever it takes. 3 months ago. Marcus sent a detailed plan. Drug setup, financial manipulation, Kyle's testimony, timeline for asset liquidation. Victoria's response, perfect. When do we start? 2 months ago, Marcus to Victoria. I've made contact with Kyle. The kid's in deep with gambling debts. I can use that. Victoria, how much? Marcus, 80 grand. I'll pay off 20, tell him I'll cover the rest after the divorce. Victoria, you're sure he won't tell Nathan? Marcus. The kid's too ashamed, and I've made sure he thinks Nathan would never forgive him. They'd been planning this together, using Kyle like a chess piece. I opened the financial records next. Transfers I'd never authorized. $47,500 moved from our joint account to Victoria's private account. 3 weeks ago, another $20,000 to Marcus's account 2 months ago. The same money he'd gifted Kyle. She'd used my money to buy my son's cooperation, legal documents, a contract with Michael Reed, $15,000 retainer, dated 2 months ago, from our joint account. Notes, prepare defamation case. Establish pattern of erratic behavior. Testimony from spouse and son should be sufficient for emergency custody and asset freeze. Then I saw it, buried in another folder, a psychiatric evaluation form, partially filled out. My name at the top. Patient Nathan Foster. Preliminary diagnosis, paranoid personality disorder with depressive episodes. Recommendation, mandatory psychiatric hold for evaluation. Not signed yet, but Victoria had been preparing it. Not just divorced, not just broke, locked up. I closed the laptop and sat in darkness. They'd planned everything. The drugs to make me seem unstable, the money transfers, Kyle's testimony, the psychiatric hold to strip away any credibility I had left. If they'd succeeded, I'd be in a cell right now, jail or psych ward, while Victoria liquidated everything and disappeared with Marcus. I scrolled to the most recent emails. 2 days ago, Marcus to Victoria. Still no sign of him. He's either arrested or gone underground. Victoria. I'm getting nervous. What if he has evidence? Marcus, he doesn't. And even if he did, who'd believe him? Paranoid husband, drugs in his truck family testifying against him. He's finished. I stared at that line. He's finished. I started copying files. Every email, every bank statement, every piece of evidence. Then I called Chris back. Did you get everything? Yeah, it's worse than I thought. I know. His voice was grim. Nathan, you need to take this to the police. Tonight. Not yet. I need one more thing. What? Access to Marcus Kane's communications. If he's as connected as I think, there's more. Chris was quiet. That's harder. He's more careful than Victoria, but I'll try. Thank you. Nathan, be careful. These people aren't playing games. Neither am I. I hung up and looked at the screen, at the evidence stacking up, at the conspiracy laid bare. They'd wanted me gone, erased, destroyed. But I was still here, and now I had everything I needed to bury them. The next batch of emails was the hardest to read. Not because of what they said about me, because of what they revealed about my son. 48 hours after my last call with Chris, he delivered another encrypted file, 700 megabytes, 3 folders, Marcus Kyle emails, Marcus Victoria planning docs, Marcus financial records. I opened the first folder. 83 messages spanning 3 months. A slow, methodical grooming. April 2nd, the first contact. From Marcus Kane, subject, just checking in. Kyle, your mom mentioned you've been stressed. College is tough. If you need someone to talk to outside all the family stuff, I'm here. No judgment. Marcus, innocent, planting a seed. 10 days later, Kyle bit. From Kyle Foster, subject, just checking in. Thanks. Things are rough. Made some bad calls. Got in over my head. Trying to fix it myself. Kyle. Marcus waited 2 days before replying. Long enough for Kyle to stew, short enough to seem concerned. From Marcus Kane, subject, I've been there. We've all screwed up. The difference between drowning and surviving. Knowing when to ask for help. If it's money, I know people. Just say the word. M. Kyle didn't respond for 4 days. Then he cracked. From Kyle Foster, subject, no subject. It's bad. Really bad. Marcus pounced within an hour. From Marcus Kane, subject, how bad? Send me the details. Whatever it is, it's fixable. Aim. Kyle attached the gambling debt summary. $80,000. April 20th. Marcus shifted from friend to savior. From Marcus Kane. Subject, I can make this disappear. Kyle, 80 grand is serious, but not insurmountable. I have connections, people who can erase this kind of debt if the situation is handled correctly. I make this problem vanish. Completely. In exchange, you help your mom through a difficult situation. Interested, M. Kyle's response 2 days later was cautious. From Kyle Foster, subject. What kind of help? What does help my mom mean, Kyle? Marcus's reply was a masterclass in manipulation. From Marcus Kane. Subject, just honesty. Your mom's going through hell. Your dad's mood swings his paranoia, she's scared. If things escalate legally, she'll need someone to corroborate what's happening. You don't have to lie. Just tell the truth about what you've observed, how he's been pulling away, acting erratic. For that, I pay off $20,000 now. The remaining $60,000 after your mom's situation is resolved. Fair, M. April 28th. Kyle agreed. From Kyle Foster, subject, just honesty. Okay. But I'm only saying what I've actually seen. I'm not making anything up. Kyle. Marcus confirmed the transfer the same day. $20,000. Then came the attachments. May 3rd. Marcus sent 3 files. Mugshots, criminal records, a news article about a loan shark beating in Seattle. From Marcus Kane, subject, FYI who you owe. Kyle, just so you understand the stakes. These are the guys your debt was sold to. Nasty people. That 20 grand I sent, that bought you time. But if you back out now, I can't protect you. They'll come looking. And they don't negotiate. M. The photos were brutal. Assault convictions. Armed robbery. One man had a scar across his jaw that looked like it had been opened with a knife. Kyle didn't respond for a week. May 10th. His tone had shifted. From Kyle Foster, subject, I don't know about this. Marcus, I've been thinking. My dad's distant, yeah. But unstable, I don't know if I can say that. It feels wrong. Kyle. Marcus's reply came within 30 minutes. No more friendly tone. From Marcus Kane, subject, think very carefully. Kyle, you took $20,000. That money's already been applied to your debt. If you walk away, now 2 things happen. 1, your creditors find out the payment plan fell through. They send their collectors. 2, your dad finds out you took money to testify against him. How do you think that conversation goes? You're in this. The only way out is forward. M. Kyle tried once more. May 23rd. From Kyle Foster, subject, can we talk? I can't do this. I'm sorry. I'll figure out another way to pay you back. Kyle. Marcus's response was a hammer. From Marcus Kane, subject, final warning. You signed paperwork. You accepted payment. You agreed to cooperate. If you back out, I'll make sure everyone knows you sold out your father for cash and then chickened out. Your mom, your dad, your school, everyone. You think your dad's disappointed in you now? Wait until he finds out his son tried to frame him for money. There's no other way. You testify we finish this and you walk away clean. Or you bail and I bury you. Your choice. M. The last email, 2 weeks ago, June 4th, from Kyle Foster, subject, no subject. I'm in, but I hate this. Kyle. I sat back, laptop glowing in the dark. My hands shook, not from cold, from rage. Marcus hadn't just blackmailed my son. He'd hunted him, identified his weakness, built trust, applied pressure, closed the trap. Kyle had been 19 when he started gambling. Probably thought he could control it. By the time the debt hit $80,000, he was paralyzed with shame. Too scared to tell me. Too desperate to say no when Marcus offered a way out. And Marcus had counted on that. He'd sent those mugshots, not because Kyle's creditors were dangerous, but because fear was the most effective control mechanism. Those photos made the threat feel real. Then Marcus had boxed him in. You took the money. You're complicit. If you back out, everyone knows. Kyle had been trapped from the moment he replied to that first email. I thought about the airport. The way Kyle couldn't meet my eyes. He hadn't been angry. He'd been drowning in guilt. I opened the second folder. Marcus Victoria Planning Docs. One email stopped me cold. From Victoria Foster to Marcus Kane. Subject Kyle. Does Kyle know about the setup, the drugs, V? Marcus's reply. God, no. Kyle would never agree to that. He still thinks his father hung the moon. Keep him in the dark. The less he knows, the easier this is. Kyle didn't know about the cocaine in my truck. Didn't know about the plan to liquidate assets. Didn't know about the affair. He thought he was helping his mother escape an unstable husband. He was a pawn. I scrolled to the financial records. Transfers, payments. A pattern emerged. Marcus had done this before. Other names, other debts, other sons and daughters manipulated the same way. 3 cases in the past 2 years. Same playbook. Find someone vulnerable. Offer help. Demand cooperation. Threaten exposure. This wasn't opportunism. This was Marcus's business model. I saved everything. Every email, every threat, every transaction. Kyle wasn't my enemy. He was another victim. And now I had proof. I stared at the final message. I'm in, but I hate this. He hated it. That meant somewhere buried under the fear and shame my son was still in there, still reachable. I closed the laptop and sat in the silence. Marcus had taken everything from me, my wife, my home, my son's trust. Tomorrow, I'd figure out how to take it all back. But tonight, I let the rage settle into something sharper, something focused. Marcus Kane had built a career destroying families. Now I was going to destroy him. By day 7, the story went viral. Not because I wanted it to, because the truth has a way of spreading on its own. I hadn't planned on going public. Not yet. But Sofia had other ideas. Day 7 morning. My phone buzzed. A text from Sofia's sister's number. Mr. Foster, I posted something. I hope you don't mind. People need to know. S. I opened Facebook on my laptop. Sofia had posted in a local community group, Portland Metro Neighbors and Friends, 12,000 members. The post was careful. No real names, but enough detail that anyone paying attention would recognize the players. Sofia's post. I worked for a family for 10 years. Good people, or so I thought. The wife is having an affair with a consultant. Together, they framed the husband, planted drugs in his truck, drugged his coffee for months, manipulated their son into testifying against him. They planned to steal everything and have him committed to a psych ward. I have proof. Emails, bank transfers, video footage. This man is innocent, and he's running for his life because no one will believe him. She'd attached a single screenshot. An email from Victoria to Marcus. Date visible, subject line. Once he's arrested, we move fast. Within 6 hours, the post had 523 shares. Comments poured in. Who is this? Someone needs to call the police. This is insane. If this is real, that woman belongs in prison. I think I know who this is. If it's the family I'm thinking of, the husband is a good man. I've met him. Then 2 hours later, a comment that made my chest tighten. Henry Walker, I know exactly who this is, and I'm standing with him. Henry, my neighbor, The man who'd helped me without asking questions, now publicly declaring his support. Replies flooded his comment. Henry, is this the guy 3 doors down from you? The one with the blue F-150 Shimon. I always liked that guy. Quiet but solid. The story was out. Not the whole truth yet, but enough to make people pay attention. That afternoon, Chris called. Nathan, I did something. Don't be mad. What did you do? I built a blog, anonymous, posted the evidence, emails, footage, bank records, everything we have. It's called A Father's Fight. My stomach dropped. Chris, it's already live, and it's spreading fast. I pulled up the site. Clean design, simple layout, a single post titled, The Truth About Victoria Foster and Marcus Kane. The post laid it all out. Timeline, evidence, screenshots of the $47,500 transfer, photos of the unmarked drug bottle, clips from the security footage, Victoria smiling in the driveway, Marcus planting the package. At the bottom a note, this man is innocent. His wife and her lover framed him. His son was manipulated. If you know Victoria Foster or Marcus Kane, share this. The truth deserves to be heard. I checked the view count. 3,800 views. 412 comments. Most were supportive. This is horrifying. I hope this man gets justice. Victoria Foster should be ashamed. If this is real, she's a monster. I know Marcus Kane. Always thought he was sketchy. But some were skeptical. Where's the proof this is real? Anyone can fake emails. This could be a smear campaign. We don't know the full story. I scrolled through reading every word. Some people doubted. Most believed. And that was enough. By evening, the blog had been shared on Twitter, Reddit, local news forums. The view count climbed past 5,000. Someone had tagged a Portland news station. At KGW8 News, any truth to this story circulating about a local family seems credible. The cameras were moving in my direction now. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt exposed. At 8:47 p.m., the living room camera caught movement. Victoria pacing. Phone pressed to her ear. Marcus on speaker. Everything's online. Thousands of people have seen it. Her voice was shrill, panicked. The emails, the bank transfers, the footage, all of it. Marcus's voice came through calm. Too calm. Then we move faster. What does that mean? It means we finish this before the police get involved. We find Nathan. We control the narrative. He's unstable, remember, paranoid, delusional. This blog, it's exactly what a man having a breakdown would do. Victoria exhaled shakily. What if people believe him? They won't. Not if we move now. Call your lawyer. Tell him Nathan's been making threats. Say you're scared. File a restraining order. By tomorrow morning, he'll be the one they're looking for, not us. And Kyle stays out of it. The kid doesn't know anything. Keep him in the dark. The call ended. Victoria sat on the couch, staring at her phone. For a moment, she looked small, frightened. Then she pulled up her contacts and started dialing. I saved the footage and sent it to Chris. Post this, now. 20 minutes later, it was live. A new update on the blog, Victoria Foster panics caught on camera. The clip spread even faster than the first post. By midnight, the blog had 12,000 views, 800 comments. News outlets were picking it up. At PDX Scanner developing viral story, alleges drug planting financial fraud in local family dispute. Police investigating. I sat in the cabin, laptop open, watching the numbers climb. Sofia texted again. Mr. Foster, people are talking. They believe you. You're not alone. I read the comments. Strangers defending me. Neighbors I'd never spoken to vouching for my character. People sharing the blog demanding justice. Henry Walker posted again. I've known Nathan Foster for 5 years. He's a good man. If Victoria and Marcus did this, they need to be held accountable. Replies. Thank you for speaking up, Henry. And we need more people like you. Justice for Nathan. I stared at the screen. For 7 days I'd been hiding, running, isolated. Now thousands of people knew my story, and most of them believed me. The truth was out, spreading faster than Victoria could contain. I'd shattered her lies in a single day. But desperate people are dangerous. And Victoria and Marcus, they were about to get very desperate. I closed the laptop and sat in the dark. The wind moved through the pines outside. My phone buzzed with notifications, shares, comments, messages of support. I wasn't alone anymore, but the fight was just beginning. Tomorrow they'd come for me. I knew that. The question was, would I be ready? Still here. Drop a 1 below. Quick heads up, this story blends real experiences with storytelling. If that's not for you, feel free to leave. But if you want to see how I finally confronted them live in front of thousands, keep watching. This is where everything comes together. I needed backup. If I was going to confront them, I couldn't do it alone. I called Henry Walker. The phone rang twice. Nathan. Henry, I saw your comment. I read the blog, all of it. His voice was steady. What do you need? I need help, real help, if you're willing. I'm in. Tell me where you are. I gave him directions. He didn't hesitate. I'll be there tomorrow morning, early. Henry, Nathan, I've known you 5 years. You've never asked me for anything. Now you're asking. That's enough. The line went dead. I sat in the dark, phone in hand. For the first time in days, I felt something close to hope. Morning came cold and gray. I was nursing instant coffee when tires crunched gravel. Henry's pickup rolled into the clearing. He climbed out 63 lean work boots caked in mud. Toolbox in one hand, paper bag in the other. Brought sandwiches. Figured you weren't eating much. I took the bag. Turkey and Swiss. My throat tightened. Thanks. Henry set the toolbox down. What's the plan? I showed him everything. The footage, the emails, the financial records. He watched in silence. When the last clip finished, Victoria and Marcus plotting, he sat back. That woman's a snake. I need more. I need them confessing on camera. Something law enforcement can't ignore. Henry nodded. More cameras. 3 more, small, good audio. Where? I pulled out the blueprint. Kitchen where she makes calls. Master bathroom, she keeps a burner phone in there. Garage, Marcus uses the side door. Henry studied the sketch. When? This afternoon, 4 p.m. Victoria has yoga, 2 hours. Marcus won't show until after dark. You're sure? I've been watching their patterns all week. Henry stood. Then we need equipment. We drove 40 minutes to a retailer outside Gresham. Bought 3 mini cameras, high-def motion activated. $850 cash. The cashier barely looked up. By 3:30 p.m., we were 4 blocks from Skyline Boulevard. At 3:52 p.m., Victoria's sedan pulled out. I watched her turn downtown. I texted Henry, now. We met at the side gate. I punched the code, still my birthday, and we slipped inside. The house smelled like coffee and lemon cleaner. It felt like enemy territory now. Henry moved fast. No wasted motion. Kitchen, I tucked the camera inside the microwave vent angled toward the counter. Master bathroom. Henry installed the second behind the decorative mirror. Perfect view of the vanity. Garage. I mounted the third in the rafters behind a paint can. View of the side door and workbench. 18 minutes, in and out. Back at the cabin, I connected all 7 feeds. Green lights. Henry leaned over my shoulder. Now we wait. 7:14 p.m. Victoria's car pulled in. I watched her walk inside, drop her gym bag, check her phone. Then she dialed. Kitchen camera caught everything. Marcus, we need to meet tonight. Marcus's voice through speaker. What's wrong? The blog. Police called today. They're asking questions. They want bank records. What did you tell them? I told them Nathan's been threatening me, that he's unstable. I filed a restraining order this afternoon. Good, that buys us time. Time for what? The whole city's seen that blog. Then we finish this. Tonight. I'll be there at 9. Victoria poured wine. Her hands shook. I saved the clip. 9:03 p.m. Garage camera picked up movement. Marcus, black jacket, ball cap. He slipped through the side door. Victoria met him in the kitchen. All 7 cameras watching. Did anyone see you? No, parked 2 blocks over. What do we do? Marcus leaned against the counter. We stick to the plan. The package is still in his truck. PDX level 3. Cops find it, we give an anonymous tip. Nathan gets arrested, this goes away. Victoria shook her head. But the blog makes him look desperate, paranoid. Exactly what we've been saying. His own evidence works against him. And Kyle testifies. Just like we planned. The kid's in too deep to back out. Victoria looked down. I didn't think it would get this complicated. Marcus smiled. It's only complicated if we panic. Stay calm, follow through, and in 2 weeks, this is over. You'll have the house, the accounts, Nathan in a cell. What about the cameras, the footage? Beatty, our lawyer, says Nathan doctored the videos. Deepfake. No court will accept it. Victoria nodded slowly. Okay. Marcus pulled her close, kissed her forehead. Trust me. I've done this before. I froze. Victoria pulled back. What do you mean? Marcus shrugged. I've helped people clean up messy situations. This isn't my first rodeo. How many times? Does it matter? Victoria stared. Doubt flickered across her face. Then she looked away. No, I guess not. They talked another 30 minutes. Details. Timeline. Contingencies. Every word recorded. At 11:06 p.m., Marcus left. Victoria locked the door and poured more wine. I sat back, Henry beside me. They just confessed, he said quietly. Yeah. 7 cameras, 2 hours of footage. Every crime laid bare. Victoria admitting false restraining order. Marcus confirming drugs planted. Both discussing framing me, manipulating Kyle, covering tracks. It was over. I had everything. Henry looked at me. You calling the police? Not yet. And then what? I pulled out my phone. Scrolled to Kyle's contact. My thumb hovered. I need to call my son first. Henry nodded. He deserves to know. I stared at Kyle's name. 22 years old. 800 miles away. Believing his father was dangerous, I hit dial. Once, twice, Kyle answered. Dad, his voice uncertain, guarded, cracked something inside me. Kyle, I need you to listen. I need you to hear the whole truth. Silence. And then I need you to come home. The message came through on day 9, 5:17 p.m. From Kyle Foster, Dad. Can we meet? I need to explain everything. Please. I stared at the screen. My hand shook. Kyle, my son, reaching out. I called immediately. He picked up on the first ring. Dad. His voice cracked. I hadn't heard him sound like that since he was 12. Kyle, where are you? Portland. I flew in this morning. I'm at a hotel near PDX. Mom doesn't know I'm here. My chest tightened. Why did you come back? Silence. Then quietly. Because I saw the blog. I closed my eyes. Dad, I need to tell you everything. In person. Can we meet? Where? Anywhere you want. I need you to hear my side. I thought about the cabin. Isolated. Safe. But also 2 hours from the city. There's a diner off Highway 26. Mile marker 42. Sunrise Cafe. Can you be there in an hour? Yeah, I'll be there. Kyle. Dad, I'm so sorry. The line went dead. I grabbed my jacket. Henry looked up from the laptop. What's happening? Kyle's here, in Portland. He wants to meet. Henry stood. You want me to come? I shook my head. This is something I need to do alone. He nodded. Be careful. I drove fast. 40 minutes on dark mountain roads. The diner appeared through the trees, neon sign flickering, half the parking lot empty. Kyle's rental car sat near the entrance. Oregon plates, engine still ticking. I parked beside it and walked inside. He was in a back booth, hood up, head down. When he saw me, he stood, then froze. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Then I crossed the room and pulled him into a hug. He broke, collapsed against me, sobbed into my shoulder the way he used to when he was little. I'm sorry, Dad, I'm so sorry. I held him tight. It's okay. I know. I know everything. We sat. The waitress brought coffee. Neither of us touched it. Kyle wiped his face, looked at me. You saw the emails? All of them. He flinched. Then you know what I did. I know what Marcus did. I know how he manipulated you. Kyle shook his head. I should have seen it. I should have told you about the debt. Why didn't you? He stared at his hands. Because I was ashamed. Because I thought you'd be disappointed. You always had everything together. Good job. Strong. I didn't want you to know I'd screwed up that bad. Kyle, you're 22. Everyone screws up. Not like this. His voice broke again. $80,000. Dad, I was gambling online for almost a year. It started small. Then I couldn't stop. By the time I realized how deep I was, it was too late. I reached across the table, squeezed his hand. When Marcus offered to help, I thought it was a gift. He said he cared about Mom, that he wanted to help the family. He paid $20,000 up front, said the rest would come after I testified. What did he tell you to say? Kyle looked up. That you'd been acting erratic, mood swings, paranoia. He said Mom was scared, that she needed support in court. And you believed him. Yeah, because Mom backed it up. She called me every week, told me you were changing, that she was worried about you, that she needed me to be honest if it came to a divorce. I thought about the footage. Victoria on FaceTime manipulating Kyle with every word. Did you know about the drugs? Kyle's head snapped up. What drugs? The Marcus planted cocaine in my truck. 6 bags, 50 grams each. They were going to frame me. Kyle went pale. No. God, no. I didn't know anything about that. Did you know about the affair? He stared. What affair? Your mother and Marcus. They've been together 8 months. Kyle looked like I'd punched him. No. That's not possible. I pulled out my phone, showed him the footage. Victoria and Marcus in the kitchen, kissing, planning, laughing about how I'd be finished. Kyle watched, his face drained of color. When the clip ended, he set the phone down. She lied to me. Yeah, about everything. Yeah, he put his head in his hands. I thought I was helping her, protecting her. I thought you were the problem. Marcus made sure you thought that. Kyle looked up. Tears streamed down his face. Dad, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I know you didn't. I took his money. I signed papers. I agreed to testify against you. Because you were drowning, and he threw you a rope. That's what predators do, Kyle. They find your weakness and exploit it. But I should have. Stop. I leaned forward. You're not the villain here. You're a victim. Just like me. Kyle wiped his eyes. What do we do now? I told him everything. The cameras, the footage, the confession, the blog going viral, the evidence stacking up. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., I'm going back to the house. I'm confronting them, both of them, and I want you there. Kyle straightened. What do you need me to do? Tell the truth, on camera, about what Marcus did, how he manipulated you, how he paid you to testify. Will that help? It'll destroy their case. Victoria and Marcus are claiming I'm paranoid, that I faked the evidence. But if you testify that Marcus blackmailed you, that changes everything. Kyle nodded. I'll do it. Whatever you need. There's one more thing. What? I need you to tell your mother you're coming home, that you want to see her. Set up a meeting for tomorrow night. Why? Because if she thinks you're still on her side, she won't see it coming. Kyle hesitated. Then he pulled out his phone. Typed a message. To Mom, hey. I'm flying back tomorrow. Can we meet at the house 8 p.m.? I need to talk to you about everything. Love you. Victoria's reply came within minutes. From Mom? Of course, sweetheart. I'll be here. Can't wait to see you. Love you too. Kyle set the phone down. She has no idea. Good. We sat in silence for a moment. Then Kyle looked at me. Dad, I know I messed up, but I want to fix this. I want to make it right. You already are. He shook his head. No, I mean really fix it. I'll testify against them. I'll go to the police. I'll tell them everything Marcus did. Kyle, I'm in debt to a gambling site. I took money under false pretenses. I'm probably going to get in trouble, but I don't care. I just want you to know I'm on your side now. I reached across the table again, gripped his shoulder. We'll figure it out. Together. Kyle nodded, wiped his face. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Tomorrow night. I drove back to the cabin. When I walked in, Henry looked up. How'd it go? He's in. Tomorrow night we end this. Henry stood. You ready? I thought about Victoria's smug smile, Marcus's cold calculation, the 8 months of lies, the drugs, the manipulation, my son's tears. Yeah, I'm ready. I texted Victoria from a burner phone. Message. We need to talk. Tomorrow. 8 p.m. at the house. Her reply came fast. From Victoria, fine. But I'm bringing my lawyer. I smiled. Reply, bring whoever you want. This ends tomorrow. I set the phone down. Henry handed me a beer. What's the play? See, Kyle arrives first. Acts like he's there to support Victoria. Then I show up. Cameras rolling. We confront them with everything. Marcus, Victoria, all of it. On record. And if they run, they won't. Victoria thinks she's in control. Marcus thinks he's untouchable. They'll stay. They'll try to talk their way out. And that's when you bury them. That's when we bury them. Henry raised his beer. To tomorrow. I clinked bottles with him. To tomorrow. I looked out the cabin window. The trees were dark against the sky. Somewhere out there, Victoria was planning. Marcus was scheming. But they didn't know what was coming. Kyle would land early tomorrow. I had 24 hours to prepare. Tomorrow night, everything ended. One way or another. 8 p.m. I stood in my living room for the first time in 10 days. The house felt like it belonged to someone else, but it was mine. I'd built it, and tonight I was taking it back. 7:30 p.m. Henry, Kyle, and I did a final systems check. All 7 cameras online. Green lights across the board. My laptop sat open on the kitchen counter. Chris Manning's face filled the screen. Audio's clear. Video's sharp. You ready to go live? I looked at Henry. He nodded. I looked at Kyle. He was pale but steady. I'm ready, Dad. I turned back to Chris. Let's do it. So stream goes live the second you give the signal. I'll moderate comments. The blog's already got 1,500 people waiting. Good. Chris leaned closer to his camera. Nathan, be careful. Once this goes live, there's no taking it back. I know. All right, I'm standing by. The screen minimized. I checked my phone. Victoria had texted 20 minutes ago. From Victoria, on my way, Michael's with me. Michael Reed, her lawyer. $15,000 retainer paid from our joint account without my knowledge. Perfect. Let him see what his client really was. I heard tires on gravel. Headlights swept across the front windows. Kyle stepped back into the kitchen, out of sight. Henry moved to the corner of the living room. Quiet. Watching. I stayed center, waiting. The front door opened. Victoria walked in first. Business suit. Hair perfect. Face composed. Behind her, Marcus Kane. Confident. Casual. Like he owned the place. Behind him, Michael Reed. 50-something gray suit leather briefcase. He looked uncomfortable. Victoria stopped when she saw me. Her eyes narrowed. Nathan! Victoria. Marcus closed the door, leaned against it, arms crossed. This is cozy, he said. The whole gang's here. I ignored him, looked at Victoria. Where's Kyle? She blinked. He's meeting me here. He'll be here any minute. So good. I want him to hear this. Victoria glanced at Michael. He stepped forward, clearing his throat. Mr. Foster, I'm Michael Reed, Mrs. Foster's attorney. Before we proceed, I need to inform you that anything said here can and will be used in... Save it, I said. I know who you are. $15,000 retainer, paid 2 months ago. From our joint account. Michael's face went blank. He looked at Victoria. You said it came from your personal account. Victoria's jaw tightened. It did. No, I said. It came from the account I set up when we got married. The one we both contribute to. Check your records. Michael pulled out his phone. Started scrolling. His face darkened. Victoria turned to me. What do you want, Nathan? I want the truth. The truth. She laughed. Cold, sharp. The truth is, you've been harassing me for weeks, threatening me. I have witnesses. I have a restraining order. You filed that yesterday, after the blog went live. Her smile faltered. I pulled out my phone, tapped the screen. Chris, we're live. On my laptop, a notification popped up. Live stream active, 200 viewers. Victoria's eyes flicked to the screen. What is that? That, I said, is 1,500 people who've been following this story. And now they're watching. Live. Her face drained. Marcus pushed off the door. Turn it off. No. He stepped forward. Henry moved from the corner. Solid. Blocking. Marcus stopped. I turned back to Victoria. You've been telling people I'm unstable, paranoid, erratic. So let's talk about that. I opened my laptop, pulled up a video file. This is footage from our security system. March 15th, 6:45 a.m. I hit play. The screen showed Marcus and 2 men standing beside my F-150. Marcus crouching. Sliding a black package underneath. Emerging. Taking photos. One man's voice clear through the mic. He's finished. Just like she wanted. The live stream chat exploded. Is that real? Oh my God. She set him up. Victoria stared at the screen. That's evidence, I said. 6 bags of cocaine, 50 grams each, planted under my truck by Marcus Kane. Marcus's face was stone. That's not me. I zoomed in, froze the frame. Marcus's face clear as day. It's you. The viewer count jumped. 2,800 viewers. Michael Reed was scrolling through his phone, face pale. Mrs. Foster, you told me your husband was fabricating. I am... Victoria's voice cracked. He doctored those videos, deep fake you can't trust. I played the next clip. Victoria in the kitchen. April 20th. Pouring drops from an unmarked bottle into a coffee mug. Stirring. Setting it on the counter where I always grabbed my morning coffee. The chat went wild. She's poisoning him. Call the police. This is insane. I paused the video. That bottle contains a mild hallucinogen, administered daily for 6 months, designed to make me seem unstable, forgetful, paranoid. Michael Reed closed his briefcase. Mrs. Foster, I can't represent you if— Shut up, Michael, Victoria snapped. The room went silent. I played the next clip. Victoria and Marcus in the living room. 2 nights ago. Victoria, the blog, everyone's seen it. The police called. Marcus. Then we finish this. The package is still in his truck. PDX level 3. Cops find it. We give an anonymous tip. Nathan gets arrested. Victoria and Kyle. Marcus, Kyle testifies. Just like we planned. The viewer count hit 3,200. Michael Reed stood. I'm done. Mrs. Foster, I'm withdrawing as your counsel. Effective immediately. He walked out. The front door slammed. Victoria's face crumbled. She looked at Marcus. Do something. Marcus's eyes were cold. Calculating. Turn off the camera, Nathan. No. You're making a mistake. The only mistake I made was trusting you. Victoria turned to the laptop, lunged for it. Henry stepped in, caught her wrist. Gently but firmly. Ma'am, don't. She jerked back, breathing hard. Mascara smudged. I looked at the camera. At the 3,800 people watching. My name is Nathan Foster. For the past 10 days, I've been in hiding. My wife, Victoria Foster, and her lover, Marcus Kane, planted drugs in my truck. Drugged my coffee for months. Manipulated my son into testifying against me. They planned to have me arrested, committed, and stripped of everything I own. I turned back to them. And now the whole world knows. Victoria's hands shook. Marcus stood silent, watching, waiting. I turned toward the kitchen. Now, Kyle, come out here. The room went dead silent. Victoria's eyes went wide, horror spreading across her face. Kyle stepped through the doorway. Kyle stepped into the room. Victoria's face went white. Marcus froze. So Kyle. Victoria's voice broke. What are you doing here? Kyle looked at her. Then at Marcus. Then at me. I'm here to hear the truth, Mom. Victoria took a step toward him. Sweetheart, I can explain. Stop. Kyle held up a hand. Just stop. I turned back to my laptop, pulled up the folder Chris had sent me. Marcus Kyle emails. Shah. Kyle didn't know about the drugs, I said. He didn't know about the affair. He didn't know you were planning to have me committed. Victoria's eyes darted to Marcus. Kyle, don't listen to him. My father showed me everything. Kyle's voice was steady, hard. The emails, the bank transfers, the threats. I played the first message. Marcus's email to Kyle, April 2nd. If you need someone to talk to outside all the family stuff, I'm here. Then the next, April 20th. I can make this disappear. In exchange, you help your mom through a difficult situation. Then May 3rd, the mugshots, the criminal records, the threats. Kyle turned to Marcus. You told me you'd help me. You said you cared. Marcus's face was stone. I did help you, kid. I paid $20,000. You used me. You blackmailed me into testifying against my own father. I gave you a way out. You gave me a trap. Kyle's voice cracked. You made me think my dad was dangerous, that I was protecting my mom. You lied to me. Marcus shrugged. You believed what you wanted to believe. Kyle lunged. Henry stepped between them, caught Kyle by the shoulders. Easy, Henry said quietly. Not worth it. Kyle's chest heaved. Tears streamed down his face. Victoria reached for him. Kyle, sweetheart, please. And don't touch me. Kyle jerked away. You lied to me for months. You told me Dad was losing it, that he was dangerous, that I needed to protect you. I was protecting you. From what? From the man who raised me, who taught me how to ride a bike, who paid for my college. Kyle's voice rose. Or were you protecting yourself? Victoria's face crumpled. You don't understand. No, I understand perfectly. Kyle turned to the laptop, to the camera. To the 4,200 people watching, my name is Kyle Foster. I'm 22 years old, and my mother and Marcus Kane manipulated me into testifying against my father. The chat exploded. Kyle's telling the truth. Brave kid. This is insane. Kyle took a breath. 3 months ago, I got into debt. Gambling, $80,000. I was ashamed. I didn't know what to do. Marcus Kane offered to help. He paid $20,000 up front. Said he'd pay the rest if I testified that my dad was unstable. He looked at Marcus. I thought I was helping my mom. I didn't know about the drugs. I didn't know about the poison. I didn't know they were having an affair. Victoria gasped. Kyle, I didn't know, Kyle said louder, that they were trying to destroy my father. Frame him. Steal everything he'd worked for. His voice broke. I didn't know, but I should have. I should have trusted my dad, and I didn't. And I'm sorry. He turned to me. Dad, I'm so sorry. I crossed the room, pulled him into a hug. He collapsed against me, sobbing. I know, I whispered. I know, son. Victoria stepped forward, mascara running, hands shaking. Kyle, you have to understand. I did this for us, for you and me. Your father, Kyle pulled back, looked at her. My father, what? He was holding us back. We could have had more, been more, but he was always so content, so small. Small. Kyle stared. Dad built this house with his own hands. He put me through school. He saved Sofia's daughter's life. He's the best man I know. Victoria's face twisted. He's weak. No, Mom. Kyle's voice was ice. You're weak. You couldn't ask for a divorce like a normal person. You had to destroy him. I didn't. Yes, you did, Kyle shouted. You drugged him. You planted drugs in his truck. You tried to have him locked up. Victoria looked at Marcus. Say something. Marcus said nothing, just watched. Cold, calculating. Victoria turned back to Kyle. Desperation in her eyes. Kyle, please. I'm your mother. You have to believe me. I did this for us. You did this for yourself. Victoria's knees buckled. She sank onto the couch, buried her face in her hands. The livestream chat scrolled faster than I could read. On justice for Nathan. Victoria belongs in jail. Kyle is a hero. The viewer count hit 4,600. Then I heard it. Sirens. Henry looked at me. They're here. I nodded. Henry had called them an hour ago. Told them everything. Sent them links to the blog, the footage, the evidence. Detective Rachel Brooks walked in first. Mid-40s, sharp eyes badge clipped to her belt. Behind her, Officer Stephen Clark. Younger, uniform pressed. Brooks looked around the room. At me, at Kyle, at Victoria on the couch, at Marcus by the door. The Nathan Foster, that's me. Wait, I'm Detective Brooks, Portland, PD. We've been reviewing the materials you provided. The blog, the video footage, the financial records. She turned to Victoria and Marcus. Victoria Foster, Marcus Kane, you're both under arrest. Victoria's head snapped up. What? Conspiracy to commit fraud, filing a false police report, attempted poisoning, drug possession with intent to frame. Brooks pulled out handcuffs. Stand up, Mrs. Foster. No, this is, Victoria looked at me. Nathan, tell them this is fake. I said nothing. Brooks cuffed her, read her rights. Victoria's voice rose to a scream. You can't do this. I'm the victim here. Officer Clark moved toward Marcus. Hands behind your back. Marcus didn't move, just looked at me. You think you've won. I have. You've made enemies, Nathan. People who don't forget. Clark grabbed his arm, twisted. Marcus winced, hands behind his back. Cuffs clicked. "Save it for your lawyer," Clark said. They led them out. Victoria still screaming, Marcus silent. At the door, Victoria turned, looked at me one last time. Hate in her eyes. "You'll regret this. I swear to God you'll regret this." I met her stare. "I already do. I regret the last 23 years. The door closed. Sirens faded. The house went quiet. Kyle stood beside me, face wet, breathing hard. On the laptop, the livestream chat was chaos. 5,000 viewers now. Comments flying. Chris's face popped up on screen. "Nathan, you still there?" "Yeah. You did it. You actually did it." I looked at the camera, at the 5,000 people watching. "Thank you, all of you, for believing me, for sharing the truth, for standing with me when I had nowhere else to turn." I closed the laptop. Kyle turned to me, tears streaming. "Dad, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know they were this bad." I pulled him close, held him tight. "I know, son, I know." Henry stepped forward, put a hand on my shoulder. Didn't say anything. Didn't need to. I looked around the living room. My house, the one I'd built. The one they'd tried to take. It was mine again. But the cost, God, the cost. I looked at Kyle, 22 years old, broken, lost. But here, still here. We'd lost so much. But maybe, just maybe, we could rebuild. Together. 2 weeks later, I spent 6 hours at the police station giving my full statement. Detective Brooks sat across from me, recorder running, taking notes. We've reviewed all the footage, the blog, the live stream, the financial records, and Sofia Morales testified about the poisoning. The lab confirmed the substance mild hallucinogen cumulative effects, designed to mimic paranoid disorder over time. I nodded. I'd known. But hearing it confirmed made it real. Style Tifo. Marcus Kane's been charged with conspiracy to commit fraud, drug possession, with intent to frame and extortion. Victoria Foster's been charged with conspiracy, filing false reports, attempted poisoning, and financial fraud. What about Kyle? Brooks's expression softened. Your son's cooperating fully. Given his age and the coercion involved, the DA's offering a deal. Probation, community service, restitution for the money he accepted. He'll take it. I'm good. She closed her notepad. Mr. Foster, I've been doing this job 20 years. I've seen a lot of ugly divorces. But this was systematic, premeditated. You're lucky you got out. I know. You're also lucky you had people who believed you. I thought about Sofia, Henry, Chris, Kyle in the end. Yeah, I am. 1 month later, the trial began. I sat in the courtroom beside Kyle and Sofia. Henry was 3 rows back. Chris had flown in from Seattle. The prosecutor laid it out. Evidence, testimony, footage, the unmarked bottle, the planted drugs, the emails between Victoria and Marcus, the 83 messages manipulating Kyle. Marcus sat stone-faced. Victoria cried. Her lawyer argued coercion, mental distress, misunderstanding. The jury deliberated 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing came a week later. The judge looked at Victoria. Mrs. Foster, you orchestrated a conspiracy to destroy your husband's life, his reputation, and his relationship with his son. You poisoned him. You framed him. You manipulated your own child for financial gain. Victoria stared at the floor. I'm sentencing you to 6 years in state prison. No parole eligibility for 3 years. Victoria's lawyer started to object. The judge held up a hand. Mr. Kane. The judge turned to Marcus. You exploited a young man's vulnerability. You blackmailed him. You planted narcotics. You've done this before we found evidence of 2 prior cases with similar patterns. Marcus said nothing. 7 years, no parole for 4. The gavel fell. Victoria was let out. She didn't look at me, didn't look at Kyle. Marcus did. One last cold stare. Then he was gone. Kyle's hearing came 1 week later. He stood before a different judge, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit fraud, reduced charge. The judge reviewed his file. Mr. Foster, you're 22 years old. You made terrible choices, but the evidence shows you were manipulated, coerced. You didn't know the full scope of what was being done. Kyle nodded. Yes, Your Honor. That doesn't absolve you. You took money. You agreed to testify falsely. You hurt your father. I know, but you also came forward. You testified against the people who used you. You're cooperating with restitution. The judge leaned forward. 2 years probation, 200 hours community service. You'll repay the remaining $60,000 over the next 5 years. Monthly installments. Miss a payment, you go to jail. Understood? Yes, Your Honor. You're getting a second chance, Mr. Foster. Don't waste it. I won't. I stood behind Kyle as the judge dismissed the case. Put my hand on his shoulder. We'll face this together. Kyle nodded, eyes wet. Thanks, Dad. 6 weeks later, the divorce was finalized. I kept the house. 2156 Skyline Boulevard. The one I'd built with my own hands. Victoria forfeited all claims. The court ordered her to pay $30,000 in restitution from assets she'd hidden in a separate account. I didn't want her money, but the judge insisted. She stole from you, Mr. Foster. This is justice. I donated it. Half to a gambling addiction recovery center. Half to a fund for families affected by domestic fraud. Kyle helped me write the checks. 2 months after the confrontation, I walked into a small cafe in downtown Portland. Kyle was already there. Corner booth. 2 coffees on the table. Sofia arrived a few minutes later, carrying a foil-wrapped plate. Empanadas, she said, setting it down. Homemade. Isabella's recipe. I smiled. Thank you, Sofia. We sat, ate, talked about small things. The weather. The cafe's new menu. Henry's latest carpentry project. Then Kyle set down his coffee. Dad, I've been thinking about school. I'm enrolling at Portland Community College, spring semester, and I'm starting therapy for the gambling, for everything. I reached across the table, squeezed his hand. I'm proud of you. Kyle's eyes filled. I know saying sorry isn't enough. I know I can't undo what I did, but I'm going to spend the rest of my life making it right. You already started. He wiped his face. I got a job too. Warehouse, night shift. It's not much, but it'll help with the restitution payments. Kyle, you don't have to. Yeah, I do. He looked at me. I took that money. I have to pay it back. On my own. I nodded. Okay. But if you need help, I know, you'll be there. Sofia reached over, patted Kyle's hand. You're a good boy. You made mistakes. But you're fixing them. That's what matters. Kyle smiled, small, fragile, but real. Sofia turned to me. Mr. Foster, 5 years ago, you gave me 2 more years with my daughter. 2 years I never would have had. Now I give you back your son. My throat tightened. You didn't just give him back, Sofia. You saved both of us. She shook her head. No. You saved each other. We sat in silence. Comfortable, warm. Kyle looked at me. Dad, do you think we'll be okay? I thought about the last 2 months. The fear, the anger, the betrayal, the loss. But I also thought about this moment. The 3 of us sitting together. Healing. Slowly. Yeah, I said. I think we will. It's going to take time, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of time. Kyle nodded. I'm ready. However long it takes. I smiled. Me too. Sofia raised her coffee cup. To new beginnings, we clinked cups, drank, laughed when Kyle spilled his on the table. I looked at my son across the cafe table, really looked at him. The boy I'd lost was gone. But the man sitting here trying to rebuild everything he'd broken, that man I could be proud of. This wasn't the ending I'd imagined 23 years ago when I said I do to Victoria. When I held baby Kyle for the first time. When I built that house on Skyline Boulevard. But maybe that was okay. Because this wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. One day at a time. One conversation at a time. One cup of coffee at a time. We weren't whole yet. Maybe we never would be. But we were healing. And that was enough. Looking back at everything that happened, I learned something I wish I'd known 23 years ago. Trust, but verify. Don't ignore the signs. Don't let love blind you to the truth. I trusted Victoria completely. I never questioned. Never checked the accounts. Never asked where the money went. I thought trust meant closing your eyes. I was wrong. Trust means keeping them open and choosing to stay anyway. Don't be like me. Don't wait until your life is falling apart to ask questions. Don't let shame keep you silent when you need help. And don't assume the people closest to you have your best interests at heart. God gave me second chances I didn't deserve. When I was hiding in that cabin, terrified and alone, God put Sofia in my path. When I needed proof, God gave me the courage to install those cameras. When I thought I'd lost Kyle forever, God brought him home. I'm not a religious man, but I know this something bigger than me kept me alive, kept me fighting, kept me from giving up. The lesson: protect yourself, protect your family. Don't assume everyone has good intentions. Watch your accounts. Know where your money goes. And if someone you love tries to isolate you, manipulate you, or turn your children against you, run. Don't wait. Don't hope it gets better. Run, and don't look back. Kyle and I are healing now. Slowly, one day at a time. It's not perfect, but it's real, and that's all we can ask for. I appreciate you staying with me through this entire journey. Drop a 2 in the comments. If you made it to the end, I'd love to know you were here. Fair warning, this story blends real-life lessons with fictional elements, crafted purely for reflection and learning. If it's not your thing, no worries, feel free to move on and discover something that resonates better with you. But if it spoke to you, consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. Sometimes the stories we share can save a life.